Everybody needs a franchise quarterback. It's essential in college football as well. Mark Rogers TV looking at the top quarterback recruits along with Mike McDaniel from inside the ACC. So we're looking at those five guys that have ACC schools either on their list or they've committed to this point with National Signing Day just about 12 days away. All right, Mike, let's start off from the top with Malik Henry, a dual threat guy.
Yeah, he's the number 2 dual threat quarterback in the country, according to ESPN. Pretty good looking prospect, 6'2", 175 pounds. He's committed to Florida State. He took a postgraduate year after high school. He's at IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. For those of you who know IMG Academy, it's a football factory. It's where some of the top recruits in the country go to not only improve and get better on the field, but also try to improve their grades off the field. So you'll frequently see teams opt for a player, the high school teams to opt for a player to take a postgraduate year at IMG if they're struggling in the classroom. Usually they use that as an opportunity to get their grades up and improve their stock. And we see a lot of the top players in the country even more frequently now than we did in the past go to IMG and do that for a year and then make their way into a pretty big Division I school. Malik Henry's no different, one of the top quarterback prospects in the country. And with all the turnover at Florida State at the quarterback position, you have Sean McGuire, Everett Golson. They were battling it out for the starting quarterback job frequently throughout the past season, and it was a down year for Florida State anyway. So if they perhaps want to go in a different direction next year and Sean McGuire were to struggle, Malik Henry is a guy that could maybe slide in there even as a freshman and take the job from Sean McGuire and maybe make an impact as a freshman, much like Jameis Winston did his redshirt freshman year at Florida State.
Yeah, and Mike, we've got a slight difference of opinion between Scout and Rivals. You mentioned the Rivals rankings, 34 overall, regardless of position, where Scout.com at 130 in the nation, number 7 rated quarterback out of Long Beach, California. He's a kid that, based on the scouting reports, actually has played a ton under center, which we don't see a whole lot these days. And he's a very polished passer based on the pedigree you talked about coming out of IMG. So for the high school level, very polished kid who can make all the throws. Not blazing speed, but an exceptional athlete who's obviously a dual threat guy. Our number 2 selection here, we got Jack Allison, a Miami commit out of Palmetto, Florida.
Yeah, and Jack Allison is a guy that signs on with Miami. He's a big-time quarterback prospect, number 5 pocket passer, according to ESPN. He's a big quarterback, 6'5", 195-pound prospect, and he's coming into Miami actually kind of in the mold of a guy like Brad Kaya, who they have now, a big guy that can really throw the football. What's interesting about the quarterbacks that Mark Richt has had, not only at Georgia, but now what he will have here in the future at Miami is, that he likes to go after these bigger quarterbacks, big arm, maybe not as mobile, a guy that can throw in the pocket. And that's a big part of the offense that Mark Richt likes to run. So Jack Allison is a guy coming in that could maybe make the same impact or a similar impact that a guy like Jacob Eason were to make at Georgia when Mark Richt, of course, recruited him there. And he's pretty much the consensus number 1 quarterback in the nation, ended up staying at Georgia and holding solid on his commitment, even though there was a slight chance he could maybe flip to Miami once Mark Richt left. So Jack Allison might be just the guy sitting there and waiting, and he'll take over whenever Brad Kaya decides to suit it up and go to the pros. He'll definitely be a favorite anyway to suit up and play quarterback, be the next quarterback of the Miami Hurricanes.
That's right. And as of late, obviously, Aaron Murray would be the most recent drafted quarterback under the Mark Richt regime there at Georgia. Allison, also an Under Armour All-American player. Again, a great size, as you mentioned, at 6'5", 195. Then we're going to go to Virginia Tech with Josh Jackson, the number 8 dual threat quarterback. Mike, I know you know something about him, and it's been a while since the Hokies really had a top-level quarterback.
Yeah, he's one of the highest rated quarterback recruits they've had in quite some time. Of course, Dwayne Lawson, a guy that's already there at school at Virginia Tech, who they were hoping to redshirt this past season, ended up suiting him up for a couple of games when Michael Brewer got injured. He's a guy that was also pretty highly recruited. But I think with Josh Jackson, a 6'1", 203-pound guy out of Michigan, Saline, Michigan, I believe, he's a guy that can really come in and try to make an impact in Justin Fuente's new offense. And it's going to be a wide open job here at quarterback for Virginia Tech heading into next season. Gerard Evans, who is a JUCO transfer into the program, committed about a month and a half ago, right before Christmas. He's a guy that has some college play under him, albeit at the junior college level, but there's a chance that he could come in and steal the job away. Of course, you have Brendan Motley, who will be a senior next season, who came and played okay for the Hokies when Michael Brewer was hurt last year. Then you have Dwayne Lawson, who I just alluded to, and a guy like Josh Jackson, who's going to come in as a freshman and try to compete for that starting job here in the summer. Now, there is a good chance that if the Hokies perhaps go in a different direction at quarterback and Joshua Jackson ends up not being the guy immediately, he would be definitely a candidate to redshirt, as the Hokies seemingly have depth at the position where they have a lot of mobile guys that can throw the football, which is obviously what Justin Fuente wants in his wide open offense, where they like to move the pocket and get the ball to the outside.
Mike McDaniel joining us from inside the ACC, and it would be really good news for the conference if they could snatch 3 of the top 9 dual threat quarterbacks, and that could be the case with Jawon Pass looking fully entrenched to go to Louisville.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Jawon Pass is a big guy, 6'5", 211. He committed to Louisville. And with the emergence of Lamar Jackson this past season, you kind of wonder where the possible fit is for Jawon Pass. The one thing that he could hold out on hoping is the fact that Bobby Petrino took a while to settle on Lamar Jackson this past year, and Jackson never really took the position by the reins as far as throwing the football was concerned. Sure, he was an athletic guy that could really run and make some plays with his feet, but we had yet to see really him improve as the season went on throwing the football. And I think if Jawon Pass is able to come in and make an impact passing the ball, like he may, as well as make plays with his feet, he's a guy at 6'5" that might be a candidate to come in and play almost immediately, especially if Lamar Jackson were to struggle. Now, I know they kind of play musical chairs at the quarterback position, finally settled on Lamar Jackson, got some continuity, and played much better as an offense, but on the off chance that Lamar Jackson either struggles or gets hurt, Jawon Pass is the guy that could come in, slide in, and perhaps take the quarterback position over. He's a guy in the mold of kind of like Jamarcus Russell in a way, just the pure size, his ability to throw and run. Definitely a candidate. You can see him in that role. So don't sleep on Jawon Pass at Louisville.
Mike, we know how good Deshaun Watson is, and prior to him, Taj Boyd, also a big-time player at Clemson. In between, Cole Stout got some starts. He was a pocket passer. Kind of interesting to see that Clemson is very high on grabbing another pocket passer in Zarek Cooper.
Yeah, Zarek Cooper's a number 9 pocket passer on ESPN, so we got a lot of good mix here between dual-threat quarterbacks and pocket passers here in our top 5. But with Zarek Cooper, what's interesting is he's kind of in the mold a little bit like Taj Boyd, 6'3", 205-pound quarterback. Now, remember, Deshaun Watson obviously makes a ton of plays with his feet. The thing about Zarek Cooper is he'll stay in the pocket more in the mold of a Taj Boyd, where we didn't see Boyd run around a whole lot unless he had to. Didn't make nearly as many plays with his feet as Deshaun Watson has. We obviously know that Cole Stout was a pocket passer. So Zarek Cooper is a guy that can come in, perhaps redshirt this coming season, while Deshaun Watson will obviously be starting in his third and what we all assume would be his final season at Clemson. And he's a guy that could come in and slide in to be his replacement should Watson go pro after the 2016 campaign.
Yeah, and Scout has him rated as the 11th best pocket passer in the nation and has him running a 4.7 40, so that's not too shabby. And as you mentioned, much like Taj Boyd, wants to stay in the pocket. That's what he's looking to do, but at the same time has got the capability to not run by defenders, but keeps people honest with some decent speed. Top 5 quarterbacks that are looking at ACC schools, and Mike, it appears to be a pretty good list, and also that not only are these guys looking at ACC schools, most of them pretty firmly entrenched in their decision to go to ACC schools. So that's a great news for the conference.
Yeah, definitely. And as of right now, it looks like they're all getting ready to sign 2 weeks from, just under 2 weeks, I guess, Wednesday, February 3rd. Looks like all 5 of these guys will be solid on their commitments, but only time will tell.
All right. Stick with us here. Mike McDaniel from Inside the ACC and myself, Mark Rogers and Mark Rogers TV. We are knocking it out when it comes to ACC recruiting, as Mike says, with National Signing Day looming large. Talk to you soon, Mike.
All right. Thanks, Mark.